been 4 weeks since the war broke out in the Middle East, and life in that part of the world has got extremely disrupted. And even if drones and missiles are not falling at your doorstep, even in faraway places like Sri Lanka, life is getting disrupted, or people are getting ready for it to be disrupted. People are talking about the price of oil, the shortages of oil, and which country will give us oil, and so on and so forth. We want life to be back to normal. But Euromonitor, that looks at energy vulnerability of countries, have placed Sri Lanka as the 6th most vulnerable country for energy. What does this mean? Firstly, that we will have economic shocks due to disruptions in the oil supply chain. B, that will cause our economy severe impact from time to time. And if you look back, in the last 4 years, this is the second time that our economy is going into shock. In 2022, there were lots of reasons why we went into bankruptcy. But what triggered it was the war in Ukraine, where price of fuel from $67 or $65 a barrel within 3 months went up to $127. And you would recall that we didn't have enough money to pay for that oil. And oil was the first thing that we ran out of. And then the government had to stop the import of vehicles and many other things after that. Now, that shock has set us back, Sri Lanka, by at least 7 years in terms of our economic productivity. Now, even before we have caught up to that, we are now suffering a second one. So, how can we manage this? Now, Sri Lanka needs, for the transport sector alone, 60 to 70 million barrels for a whole year. And even at $67, which was the price 4 weeks ago, we still have to spend, something like $4.5–5 billion. If you add electricity also, that comes to about $6.5 billion. Now, if this goes to 125, 130, some people say it may even go to 150, we may have to spend $12 billion, maybe even $15 billion to import the oil. Sri Lanka does not produce any oil. Now, our total foreign income is only $25 billion a year. So how on earth can we spend 50–60% of that? Even at 25% of our foreign exchange income, we struggle to develop. So therefore, a government needs to have a very well-formulated plan ahead. What has the government done now? First, they have issued quotas. Very good. But the other day I looked at the number of operational vehicles right now, which is about 6.1 million vehicles, multiplied that by the weekly quota that is given for each vehicle, and I come up with 150 million liters of fuel per week. What was the historical consumption until 3–4 weeks ago? Only 75 million. So, this kind of approach will not reduce consumption. We are giving double the quota that we normally use. So, we must have a system of actually calculating how to reduce that from sectors where we need to reduce. The second thing that we have done is to declare a holiday. Now, any holiday disrupts society. It disrupts the economy. These are the last things to do, and maybe we'll come to a time when we'll have to do that. But we must not allow our economy to shut down. We have to keep that going. The third thing that has been done is to raise the price of fuel by almost 35% in 2 stages. That is a step in the right direction. Why? Even a lot of people may not like this, may not grumble, because it hurts us on a daily basis. But Sri Lanka, as a non-oil producing country, has been giving the second lowest pump price in the world. Now, how can we go on doing this? We are almost subsidizing the private vehicle user in terms of allowing vehicles to operate on the road. So this is something that needs to change. The mindset that the private vehicle is what matters. Public transport can be left aside. But see, a country like Singapore it carries on in whatever happens in the world. Why 80-90% of their movement is on public transport. And we need to actually move to 50-60%, but now we have gone down to about 40%. So Sri Lanka is going to find this hard to move out of unless the government makes a policy direction to stop following this vehicle dream that we have created since the start of the open economy. That is the symbol of success. The more vehicles we have, the better we are. Right now we have 300 vehicles per 1,000 people. Singapore has only 10. So we need to align the transport policy that suits Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is the 38th most densely populated country in the world. We need to move towards public transport rather than towards private transport. Right now, in terms of energy, public transport moves 40% of the people, consuming only 17% of the fuel. So if everybody moves to public transport, which we don't need to do, we will use only 1/3 of the fuel that we are using now. If half of that move, our fuel consumption will come down by half, and the economic prosperity of the country will be that much faster. So we have to make a choice. Are we following this vehicle dream that everybody needs to have a vehicle? We will keep on building roads, or do we go to a sustainable transportation policy?